Hi, this is Matt. Today I wanted to start a discussion about leftism. What is it and how to classify it? Conservative commentators have been mocked for years for describing leftism as a new religion. Since 2016, it has become clear that the modern left was determined to prove us right and has doubled down on many of the issues that seem to indicate that they are right. What we have witnessed unfold in this country over the last few years, and have seen increase exponentially as the 2022 election comes near, especially with regard to the Black Lives Matter movement, is an expression of religious zealotry so widespread, unforgiving, and violent that it might have made the Puritan governors of the 17th century worry they were being outdone. Leftism is not a political ideology anymore. It is a full-fledged religion complete with tithing, forced confessions, internet inquisitions, public rituals, excommunication, and more. The proof is too plentiful to ignore. Here are 6 signs that we're truly confronting a theocracy of religious extremists. First, the conformity of strictly enforced virtues, and excommunication pushed by the left. Throughout history, religious nonconformists and dissenters of theocracies like the one we're now confronting have been denied political and civil rights. Those who fail to express their undying loyalty to the Church of Leftism and participate in its public rituals are marked as heathens and cancelled faster than you can say due process. Those who are routinely decent are shunned from certain schools or organizations and are even deprived of their livelihoods. In this religious system, heretics and apostates are ruthlessly suppressed and denied the full benefits of participation in the body politic. Even if you're silent, the media choir will call it violence and demand you be shamed and unfollowed. If that's not enough Puritan madness, the choir will also instruct you on how to be sufficiently woke. The New York Times recently ran a piece suggesting you must demand your family and friends donate to left-wing causes or threaten them with excommunication. This denotes an extremist position that many people on the left wholly support. Secondly, the left has established an office of the Inquisition. This was done to ensure the aforementioned conformity. They police speech, launch vicious pressure campaigns against celebrities, schools, and corporations, and work to ruin the lives of those who dare dissent from established orthodoxy. Even those who commit only the most venial of sins face the wrath of the woke. Just ask J.K. Rowling, who is as woke as they come. Rowling even retroactively declared one of her book characters to be gay, but she committed the terrible sin of asserting that only biological women are real women. For that sin, she was met with a backlash so swift and vitriolic you'd think she'd written a new book called Hitler, Potter and the Prisoners of Auschwitz. Silence will not save you. If you don't make sufficient and timely proclamations on social media displaying your deep belief in the Church, the Inquisition will come for you too. Just look at the people who didn't put a black square on Instagram during Blackout Tuesday. Even George Washington can't escape the Inquisition or the destruction that follows it. Third, the left has established a number of so-called sins. Speaking of sins, the Church of Leftism has a lot of them. Groupthink is required, or else dissidents will be smeared with an ism, east, or phobia term. Once the church attaches those labels to you, you might lose your job and get a public shaming. Homophobe, racist, bigot, xenophobe, these accusations used to carry meaning, but the left has misused and misapplied them for so long, they have lost almost all weight outside the pseudo-religion. I know I'm not a transphobe just because I don't think the state should be able to force left-wing gender studies on my kindergartner. The left doesn't see it that way, though. In their theology, protecting children from politicized sex ed is evidence of transphobia or bigotry, which must be driven out of polite society. Unlike Christian sins, which are clearly explained and rooted in the pursuit of godliness and moral order, the sins in the leftist Bible are ever-changing and ill-defined. Things that were completely kosher one day, showing pride in one's country, for example, are suddenly haram the next. It's downright exhausting. You had just better hope your boss isn't a faithful follower of their doctrine. Certainly, it is not unusual today that many businesses have been caught up as the punishers of this extremism. Don't get caught in highlighter after hours doing something that the left defines as not woke, or you may find that you are out on the street tomorrow. Fourth, the left has applied the Catholic idea of penance being required for any sins that you commit. If you do find that you've committed a sin after the woke inquisitors have their way with you, you shall be forced to commit a humiliating public act of penance. Grown men have been forced to beg on their knees or prostrate themselves. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey did it willingly only to find that no amount of groveling or virtue signaling could ever satiate the most extreme members of the church. One sin, however, is considered so grievous and unforgivable that no act of shameless self-flagellation can wash away its stain. That's the sin of being an actual conservative. If you outwardly counter leftist doctrine, the pseudo-church teaches that shunning, eternal damnation, and excommunication should be your fate. Oh, did I say that happens once they find you've sinned? My mistake. Even deceased abolitionist Matthias Baldwin, who fought slavery 30 years before it ended and built schools for black children, is now paying the price with his statue being destroyed in Philadelphia in the name of stopping racism. Fifth, the left finds that many of its members will gladly perform a public ritual to humiliate themselves without coercion. Its political priestly class, for example, is incredibly fond of gaudy vestments. Their favorite fabric choices being white and kente. Lay members choose more lively rituals or synchronized chants. They even have holy wars. Look no further than the riots waged in large part by the far left and remember the phrase they've been using during the riots, by all means necessary. In their jihad, the only possible redemption for infidels like you or me is to come on bended knee, groveling and ready to convert wholesale to their liturgy of insanity. Even that might not be enough to save you. Sixth, the left even has embraced a religious type of evangelization to gather new believers. The missionary zeal of the Church of Leftism is enough to make the Latter-day Saints envious. Its evangelists are everywhere, their efforts permeating all aspects of life including television shows, websites, social media, consumer landing pages, and corporate advertising. Barely a single product, app, or promotion these days comes without a free leftist sermon. I was trying to find a Lego movie recently and instead found the LGBT section right next to the kids section of the TV guide, asking me to watch a show about trans kids. The Church of Leftism knows the most effective indoctrination starts early and has established a veritable army of missionary teachers to convert children to its radical faith before they develop the mental capacity to question its dogma. That's why George Soros-funded Color of Change recently ran a campaign in partnership with Nickelodeon that aired between children's shows. Our public schools have become government schools, becoming arms of the leftist religious movement. This religion even includes saints for the kids to worship. Saint Greta Thunberg is so great at converting new followers to the cult that they made her a giant mural watching over San Francisco. The Church of Leftism has become a dominant movement in our country today. Leftism has transformed from an obscure cult into a dominant religion in our country. The slow pace of conversion enabled many people to ignore what was happening until they couldn't anymore because it was moving too fast to stop it. The progressive promised land is here now. It's a hedonistic, Puritan fusion theocracy where you must be okay with the homeless shooting up or defecating on your street and be firmly committed to threatening people's careers if they think all women are born with a vagina. I don't know what their city on a hill will look like once they're finished building it. If the People's Republic of Chaz or Chop in Seattle is any indication, it certainly won't be shining, and there might be naked men running around babbling about abusing kids. I do know, however, that I'm proud to be considered a heretic in their eyes. In November, we'll all get to decide if these religious extremists should receive more power. I hope you choose wisely and refuse this far-left theocracy. I encourage all of you to get involved in your children's schools and push for school choice. The schools are indoctrinating our kids in all types of perversion. The sex education programs are teaching all types of sex and that it is the kids' sexual right to have sex with anyone they want, anytime they want. They teach that racism is everywhere in critical race theory and that all white people are racist and that our American system promotes white supremacy and is against all minorities. Sure, we aren't perfect, we are in fact all sinners, but America is by far the best country in the world. If you don't believe that, just see how many people from all over the world are flocking to America now that our borders are fully opened. To learn more about the cultural issues that the leftist movement is promoting today, go to Nehemiah Reset's website at Nehemiah Reset. org and look up our different videos and articles under the Training Resource tab. New videos are added each week. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon watching another of our videos on issues in our